A nombre de la Cámara de Comercio Italiana en México, les doy la bienvenida a este webinar que forma parte de la quinta edición de Encuentro Creativo, un proyecto de la Cámara Italiana apoyado por la Embajada de Italia en México. El objetivo de Encuentro Creativo es promover la oferta académica italiana en México, acercando estudiantes y profesionales a las instituciones educativas y oportunidades formativas en Italia. Now I'll switch to English. It's an honor to give you a warm welcome to this webinar titled Stage and Desire, the Strategic Power of Events in Luxury. Today, we are privileged to have the participation of Andrea Barbagelata representing IULM. IULM is one of the most renowned universities in the field of communication, languages, and international relations. Located in Milan, it offers academic programs in areas such as corporate communication, marketing, tourism, digital media, arts, and cultural management. Founded in 1968, IULM stands out for its innovative and multidisciplinary approach, as well as its strong ties with the business and creative sectors, providing students with a practical and global education that meets the demands of today's market. Now, let me introduce our speaker. Andrea Barbagelata is a communication and PR professional with more than 25 years of experience. He advises companies on communication and public relations with a special focus on the luxury sector. His work also covers the design and organization of events, from concept to on-site execution. Alongside consulting, Andrea teaches at IULM in Milan, where he lectures in the master's degree in strategic communication and in the master's degree in fashion communication and luxury strategies. He is also a faculty member at the International University of Monaco, lecturing in the Master in Luxury Management. Well, we have a great guest today, so please,
Thank you.
Andrea, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Veronica, and thank you to everybody participating in this webinar. I'm starting sharing my slides, so I do the difficult technical tasks immediately, and I'm more free to. Okay, can you see my slides? Yes, I guess.
Yes, all good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So today I'm trying to put your attention on the importance of this amazing tool, which are events in luxury. Basically, in luxury, events are in general a very important PR tool, but in luxury became in the last years and are more and more one of the most important tools, or I would say even the most important tool. We'll try to understand why, and we will try to focus our attention on the perfect characteristic of an event in luxury. What is an event, first of all? An event can be a lot of different things, because it can be a sport competition, such as this one, can be a party, can be a fair or exposition. For example, in luxury, one very famous is Watches and Wonder, concerning watches, luxury watches and jewels. Can be, for example, a dinner for the best clients of a brand or of a luxury shop. Can be a congress, because a congress is an event, a fashion show, of course, and so on. So there are a lot of different kind of events that we are called to organize if we work in event management. I use to easy classify. I'm not stopping so much on this classification, but it's just to make understand. I'm using to classify events in three categories. The first is the private events. We are not going to talk about private events today, but even for luxury professionals, sometimes are kind of very important. So private events are, as you can easily imagine, weddings, birthday parties, and so on. But on the right column, we see all the professional events. The professional events can be divided in two macro categories, what I call the instrument or PR events. So the events that are communication PR tools, and the product events, so events that are themselves products. What are the instrument or PR events? Are the events organized by a company, an association, an organization that have a budget of expenses, but with the event, the company is not directly earning money. When I organize a private dinner for the best clients of a luxury brand, I'm not asking them to pay a ticket. Okay, so the budget of the event is made just by expenses. Of course, the company is organizing the event to earn money, to sell more products, to have more clients, to increase the brand image, the brand awareness, and so on. So, of course, the event is made to earn money, but it's not the event itself making money. So the event has just a budget of expenses. The product events are events with some expenses and some revenues. At the end, the sign should be a plus or a zero if it's a non-profit organization, but normally not a minus. I want just to call very, very briefly your attention on the fact that a fair or exposition, such as Watches and Wonder in Geneva, can be for the companies participating in the fair, so for, I don't know, Rolex, Bulgari, Patek Philippe, and so on, an instrument, so they spend some money to participate in the fair, in the exposition. They don't earn directly money in the exposition. Of course, it's made to earn more money later, but they don't earn money participating in the exposition directly. They don't participate to, I don't know, the tickets to enter the exposition, of course. But at the same time, this fair or expo for the company organizing it is a product event. So they rent the exposition area of a town, and after they sell spaces to the companies that want to expose, they sell a lot of other things. After they sell the tickets to get in, sponsorships, and so on. This was just to make you understand a little bit what is the word of events. But for luxury, events, what are? Events can be organized for a lot of different reasons, even in luxury. First, and more easy to understand, is the launch of a new product or service. Normally, a company is organizing an event to celebrate and announce the launch of a new product or a new service. These events can be for the clients, can be for the press, for the influencers, and so on. After, I think the most important for luxury companies are the best clients, dinners, cocktails, party events in general. So we will see in a few slides why, but luxury brands organize more and more events dedicated and reserved to the clients, or more often the best clients. Events can be sport activities, even in luxury, so golf competition, tennis competition, ski, and so on. Golf is quite frequent, but even some other sports can be used in luxury to organize events for clients. Opening of a new space, for example, a new shop, a new factory, a new office. In luxury, typically, when you open a new shop, you organize an event every time. I mean, it's impossible to don't do it. After, very important, even in luxury, and still organized by the event department of a company, so is part of what we will try to teach you how to do if you come to study in IULM, are the education and edutainment events. When you launch new products, new services, normally you need to train the sales force, so the people working in the shops all over the world, and companies are organizing events to make this training more dynamic and more funny also for the people following the training. Press and media events, press conferences, no more used so much, but sometimes we use. Press tour, quite often used in luxury. So what is a press tour is when you take a very limited number of, for example, journalists, and you bring them to visit the company. For example, for the watches industry, can be Geneva. You take some journalists, I don't know, from Milano, because I'm based there, and you put them on a minivan, you bring them to Geneva, you make visit the company, you make visit the production of some luxury watches, you invite them in a nice hotel, you stay with them. So this is what we call a press tour. Interesting, is not so frequent, but is used, but is a funny kind of event. So I wanted to put it in the slides. Are the press sales? What are the press sales? I'm pretty sure you all know what are the sales. So when at the end of the commercial season, companies, shops are selling the products, typically clothes, bags, and so on, for reduced prices to cut the stock. In luxury, we use quite often to please journalists and influencers, inviting them to private sales with huge discounts, and typically not at the end of the season, but at the beginning of the season. So it's even more interesting. This is a way to make a gift without making a gift. I mean, we invite people and we offer them the possibility to buy our luxury goods for a special price in a private environment, typically together with the press agent of the company, of the brand, and so on. And of course, I already mentioned the participation to a fair, expo, etc. is, even if we don't organize the fair or the expo, we just organize the participation of our company. Even to organize the participation of our company is an event, basically. So has the complexity of an event. After, there are so many other events, so the limit is only your creativity if you will work in luxury. But I'm trying to, okay. But the most important question I would like to answer today is why luxury brands organize events. Events are an expensive operation. Normally in luxury, events require big budgets, because an event in luxury should be more than perfect, should be amazing, okay? So why luxury brands invest so much money in events? But the most important value of an event, in my point of view, is what I call the accreditation in the brand's world. What I mean? If I am a good client of, I don't know, Louis Vuitton, it's clear that I know Louis Vuitton. I know what is Louis Vuitton. I know the main characteristics of the brand. I probably have a strong culture about the brand. And anyway, I'm pretty sure that I'm happy to be a good client of Louis Vuitton. I love Louis Vuitton and I know this brand. But do Louis Vuitton knows me? Not obvious. Not obvious. Well, if I receive an invitation to a private event for the best clients of Louis Vuitton, this is the demonstration that yes, I know Louis Vuitton, but Louis Vuitton knows me. So is an accreditation in the brand's world. To receive for a luxury client to receive an invitation for a private event of one of his favorite brands means that the brand care of this client, the brand know this client. So the fact of loving the brand become a two-directional process, no more a one-directional process. Of course, the event is also a reward, a prize, a gift. Normally, luxury events are very nice. We organize amazing dinners, amazing parties with amazing food, Michelin-starred chefs, and so on. So I don't want to tell you that is not a reward, is not a gift that the brand is giving to the client. It is, of course. But is also a full immersion in the brand's world. What I mean, a full immersion in the brand's world? Well, some brands, a lot of luxury brands, have mono-brand shops. So when you enter a mono-brand shop, you have kind of full immersion in the brand's world. But in a few seconds, I will explain you why it's not totally a full immersion in the brand's world. Let's keep in mind that not all the luxury brands have everywhere in the world, in every town, a mono-brand shop. Some luxury brands are sold in luxury shops, but selling also other brands. So when a client of one of these brands is entering one of these shops, cannot experience a full immersion in the brand's world, because in the shop can find luxury products also by other brands. Sometimes some luxury brands have corners in some shops, but even a corner is not a full immersion in the brand's world, because I don't know, my Rolex corner can be close to the Patek Philippe corner, okay? So cannot be considered a full immersion in the brand's world if the shop is not a mono brand. But even if we think about the monobrand shops, well, even if I'm not, in this case, a client of, I don't know, Louis Vuitton, I go to Milan in Via Monte Napoleone, I can easily enter the Louis Vuitton shop. If I'm dressing in a correct way, nothing special, but not maybe not very bad. I mean, in a normal way, I can walk around Milan, and I'm a polite person. I have a normal behavior. Nobody is forbidden me the possibility to enter the shop, and so for the clients inside, me, not maybe good client of Louis Vuitton, not a fan of Louis Vuitton, just a curious entering the shop, I'm destroying a little bit the mood, because the word of the brand is made also by its clients. And in the shop you can find, yes, clients, but also not clients. So technically, even the monobrand shop is not a 100% full immersion in the brand's world. When the client is invited to an event, everything at the event is talking about the brand. Typically, some top management people is participating in the event. All the decoration is made thinking about the brand, and all the people invited at the event is people some way linked with the brand. So also the people is building the brand's world. Of course, is a listening opportunity. I was just saying that normally at brand events, the top management is participating. So not only the shop management and the shop people, but also the company top management is participating. So is an opportunity for the top management to get in touch directly with the final clients. Not frequent, but is a very, 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 very interesting opportunity, is a listening opportunity. And last, but very important, is an opportunity to create contents. What I mean, all the brands, not only luxury, but in luxury is very important, like the idea of having the top clients being the ambassadors of the brand. So if I manage the communication of a luxury brand, I love the idea of some of my clients posting, for example, on their own social media, some contents about the brand. Of course, they can share the contents that the brand is posting. Yes, they don't do it so much because they don't like to be seen as advertising tools of a brand. And anyway, if they share the content posted by the brand, well, the content is not looking that authentic, that true. It's completely different if they create their own content, so they turn their own video, they turn their own reel, they take their own picture and they post it. This is an original content created by a pair for other luxury clients, and is an extremely powerful content. On the other side, we cannot imagine our top clients spending their day to look for opportunities to create contents for us. They are not doing, of course. So inviting them at an event, we give them the opportunity to easily create contents. If if I am the brand, I don't know, Patek Philippe luxury watches, and I invite some top clients, and at the event I put a desk where a watchmaker, a professional watchmaker, is showing a watch, is opening it, is doing some small operations in the watch, and the people is taking a short video or some pictures while this watchmaker is doing it. Well, these people have the opportunity to create an amazing content that is impossible to create by themselves, because even if they own this luxury watch, they are not going, I hope, to open it and to destroy it, to turn a short movie at home. Okay, so I give them the opportunity to create a content that is impossible to create in other ways. Every event, I always say that to organize events is not that difficult. To organize good events, yes, but to organize events in general is not that difficult. Every event is made by 8 steps, technically. First, and the most important one, we are going to stop on this point in the next slide for a moment, is to set objectives and audience. For example, my audience are the best client of my brand, and my objectives are to present a new watch, for example, or a new collection of jewels, to make them feel part of the family, to increase the brand awareness, and so on. So I set some objectives and I understand who is my audience. After, but just after, I can develop a strategy and a project of the event. And the project is really linked to the program of the event and the experience I will provide to my guests. All these activities have a strong limit made by the budget, the timeline I need to respect, and some risk analysis. We are not stopping today on the risk analysis. It's something that I can take like a couple of days to explain you how to do the risk analysis of an event. So tonight we don't have the time of doing it, but if you will study with us, of course, is an important topic in event management, because as I told you, an event for luxury need to be perfect. Okay. Anyway, budget and the timeline are important point when you organize an event. After, you have to choose a venue and some suppliers to communicate the event, so to invite the right people, to register the right people, to, for example, do the recalls to make sure that these people is coming to the event. And after, you have to manage the famous D-Day, the event day, and to make an evaluation after the event. Basically, all the events are made in this way. If you can organize the opening of a small shop, you can organize the most important event of a brand in the same way. What it changes is the complexity. The more the event is big, the more you have to use external suppliers, the more people will be involved, the more complex will be the organization. But technically, all the events are made more or less in the same way. All the events are made with the format, with the choice of a location, some food and beverage, decoration, lights, music, entertainment, other suppliers, the team you have to manage, and so on. But let's keep in mind that the main actors of any event are its audience and the represented brand. It sounds obvious, but in effective event management, it must be a mantra. So you need to represent well your brand. So you need to organize an event coherent with the image of your brand, because the event, as I told you, will be a full immersion in the brand's world. So to have an effective full immersion in the brand's world, you need to represent well the brand. Everything you organize, even the entertainment, should have a link with the brand you're representing. But you have to think about your audience, okay? And in a few slides, we will see who is your audience and why in luxury is a critical point. I always say that there is no perfect event. There is the right event for the audience you want to engage, and of course, for the brand you represent. So, an event that is perfect for a brand can be horrible for another one. An event that can be really effective and can bring you big results in one country can be a disaster in another one. That's why it's impossible to create a list of format of events you can organize in luxury in general. We need to organize the perfect event. We need to understand a method, a technique, and to develop a personalized and a different project for each brand we represent, for each country we work in, for each town. I work normally in Italy and in the south of France, in the area of Monte Carlo, and I can tell you, even around Italy, I have differences. What is effective in Milan is not effective in another Italian town. So even from one town, not only country to another, I make some differences when I organize events, when I make some choices. Just to give you one example, in Rome, concerning, for example, food, which is an important point in luxury events, in Rome, they like to see the big buffet. So they like to see the big tables with a lot of food on the tables and the possibility to help themselves, even in luxury. In Milan, we don't use anymore this kind of formula. People don't like, okay? So we serve food in cocktails, in parties, in dinners, in different ways, with the waiters passing with finger foods and so on. But if you do this in Rome, so the waiter passing, people, yes, like because it's good food and so on, they like, but they don't like 100%. They prefer to see the buffet. Okay, are different, are cultural differences that make a lot of a lot of differences in events when we design them, and from one brand to another, of course, and so on. So today is not easy to communicate in luxury. Today, let's keep in mind that most, I mean, almost all the luxury brands are communicating to 5 different generations. Okay, so are communicating to the very young people, which will be for some luxury brands are already clients, but for some other brands will be the clients of the future. So if a kid of today uh, don't dream about I don't know, a Porsche car, is not going to buy the Porsche car when will be successful. So if I wanted to have this future young top manager buying a Porsche car, I need to make this kid start to drink, so to dream sorry, to drink, too late, to dream the Porsche car today. So if he's a 7, 8 years old kid, he or she should start to dream about this car. So in this way, when we'll have the opportunity to buy it, we'll buy it. If we don't start to build this luxury dream since the beginning, before or later we will have problems. So we need to communicate to the very young people, but we need also to communicate to my grandfather, okay? Because my grandfather, maybe not mine, but someone of the age of my grandfather can be the client of Porsche, okay? Today, but we need to communicate to 5. There are 5 different generations we need to communicate to, and all these generations are completely different in terms of communication languages and keys and so on. So from one brand to another, from one generation to another, from one country, one town to another, we have big differences, and so we cannot say now which is the perfect event. I will tell you one characteristic that the perfect event should have in a few slides, and this is always true, but I cannot tell you which one is the perfect event. Sorry. Okay. So who is my target audience? Who are the people I need to address? Well, when we talk about luxury, we have these amazing definitions created by a bank, by Merrill Lynch, that define, in theory, with some limits, because it's not 100% true, but define what is, sorry, one line was missing, what is the target of luxury in general. Again, guys, with all the possible exceptions, but in general, we used to say that the target of luxury starts with what we call the high net worth individuals. We go up to the very high net worth individuals and the ultra high net worth individuals. Who are the high net worth individuals? For Merrill Lynch, the high net worth individuals are people with investable assets, so whatever they own, excluding the primary residence, so excluding the place where they live, all these investments, properties, money they have, pass the 1 million euros. For the very high net worth individuals, everything I said past the 5, and for the ultra high, past the 30. Technically, this is our target. It's not 100% true, okay? There are a lot of exceptions, but let's focus a moment on these people. Who is these people? These are audiences, technically, with near unlimited access to whatever they want. These are people who may feel they've seen all. Okay? People technically impossible to surprise. And very important, these people is people that is continuously approached by a multitude of brands. I always used to say that the person living in, I don't know, Monte Carlo or Milan, that you are inviting to the best client's cocktail party of the Vuitton boutique is the same people invited to the best client's cocktail event of the Rolex boutique, the same people invited by Versace, the same people invited by, I don't know, Giorgetti, if we want to think about Italian furniture, design furnitures, and so on. So basically, your target, the target of your events, the events you are organizing, spending a lot of money, okay, because these luxury events cost a lot of money. The target of these events you are organizing is the same target of a lot of other luxury brands. I can tell you that a high net worth individual, and even more the very high net worth individuals and ultra high net worth individuals, but we can also say a very good client, one of the best clients of the Rolex boutique of Milan, receive more than 3 invitations to luxury events per week, okay? And sometimes is going to a lot of them because are anyway nice events. So what is the result? What is the risk? The risk is that this person is coming to our Rolex cocktail, and the day after is at Versace cocktail, the day after is at Armani, and so on. Basically, in a few days, is forgetting everything about the event, especially because the typical luxury event, the typical cocktail for the best clients, how is made? People is invited in a nice location. There is something to drink, champagne, good wines, and so on. Something very good to eat. A DJ playing or a musician singing, and so on. And the products of the brand exposed, if are jewels or watches in some showcases, if are clothes or bags, maybe in other ways, but the products of the brand, some good food, good drinks, music, nice atmosphere, nice decoration, and that's all. So if all the events are made in this way, events cannot be memorable, cannot be different, and cannot have a wow effect. And what we want to make profit of the big budget we put on events is to be memorable. We need to be memorable. To be memorable, we need to be different. To be memorable and different, we need what I call the wow effect, which is the real characteristic that any event in luxury must have. Okay, if we think about the first list of possible events, even the events for the press or the events for the internal publics, so for example the seminars we organize for the sales force of a brand to explain new products, new services, need anyway a wow effect, because we need these people to be happy to participate in these events. So, okay, less than for the clients, but we need wow effect anyway. I like this quote by Coco Chanel. To be irreplaceable, one must always be different. The wow effect is the secret of the success of any event, especially in luxury. Why especially in luxury? Because our target go to a lot of events. So the risk to be to waste money organizing an event which is not memorable, which is forget in a few days, is very high because these people is going to a lot of events. It's clear, okay? If a brand is inviting me, which I'm not in the luxury target, to an event, maybe even if the event is not that wow or that different, maybe I can remember it a little bit more because I don't go to so many events, okay? But if we invite someone going every night to a different event, well, or our event has a wow effect, or everybody is forgetting the event in a few days. And the result is that we wasted a lot of money. When I say a lot of money, just to give you one number to make you understand, one event organized by the best clients of a luxury brand in Milan, for example, for, I don't know, let's make 60 clients. So 60 clients means 120 people because normally you give the invitation for 2 people. So an event for 120 people representing 60, 70 of our clients in Milan can cost a very different amount of money. It depends where you organize it and what you do. But technically, what we put in the budget for this kind of event for one luxury brand, the best clients of one luxury brand, is between the 50 and the 80,000 euros. Okay, so it's a lot of money. Okay, a lot of money. We cannot imagine to waste this money. Imagine that this is for one event. The brand is organizing maybe 10, 20 events per year in different towns and so on, just in one country. So imagine all over the world. It's a lot of money that we cannot think to waste. Okay, I want to show you a short video. Pay attention now. Okay, so I stopped the video because the interesting part was probably you noticed the table mapping. Eventually, if we have time, I can show you in another video that I have on my desktop more into the details this part. Basically, what you noticed is that this event was, I mean, huge event, very nice, but the typical event with some performances, some shows, the products exposed, nice location, nice service, everything nice. But what they decided to do? They decided to, when people was sitting down, because the event was designed in this way, people was arriving, there was a cocktail party, so an aperitif, standing up aperitif, the possibility to see the watches, to walk around and so on. After, people was invited to sit down for a seated dinner, and when everybody was sitting down at the table, the lights switched off, and the projection, special projection that we call mapping, started on the tables. I don't know if I can arrive to show you a little bit the video of just the mapping. I try. I stop the sharing of this and I start to share my desktop and I make you start this video. I ask especially Veronica, can you see the video?
Yes, we can see.
Perfect. Now you can you hear me while the video is going?
Yes, I think.
Perfect. Okay.
Yes.
So basically, people was sitting down, and this projection started transforming the table in a watch. This is a special projection. It's made with video projectors like the ones that you probably have for university classrooms, more power, but the same kind of technology attached to the ceiling of the location, and the projection is designed for the surface where it's projected on. It's typically made on buildings. Probably you saw several times on buildings, so projections that are respecting the windows, the doors, the balconies of a building. We can do it also on tables, tables of 12 people. So we transformed the table in a watch, and this was a surprise. Nobody would expect. So everybody was sitting down, and they had this surprise. Actually, we had to repeat the show twice during the night because people asked us to see a second time, to be ready with the phone to turn a short movie to post on the social media. But the best one was the first projection we made with the clean table and so on, because anyway, this one was one kind of wow effect, costing quite a lot of money, because an operation like that, to project on tables, is very expensive. To give you an idea, of course, depends from the number of the tables you have to cover and so on, but it can be around the 25,000 euros spent in 4 minutes of wow effect. But I can tell you that 10 years passed from this event, and sometimes I meet some people that was at the event and they still tell me it was so nice the projection on the tables. It was so nice the mapping show on the tables. Okay, I call it projection to simplify, but as you can see, it's not a real projection of a movie. It's something, the movie is designed for the tables and everything is set. The tables were prepared with some placeholders to have exactly the dishes and so on in the perfect places and so on. So it's technically difficult, it's not a simple projection, but it's something that transforms the event in something different from what people was usually seeing. I go back to my presentation. So, and everybody is always asking me, sorry, okay, but if we don't have this big budget, what can we do? I'm having some problems to, okay. Now you should see again the presentation. If I have the lower budget, I give up. So no wow effect. I organize the typical event without any wow effect. Well, not exactly. The short budget, the small budget is not an excuse to give up. It's not an excuse to leave your event without a wow effect. Why? First of all, because even if you have a small budget in events is anyway a lot of money. So if you don't have extra money to dedicate to the wow effect, well, if you don't have any wow effect, you waste even the small budget you had, because basically you do an event, you organize an event that is not memorable. So basically, you could even save the small budget you dedicated to the event. So you need anyway a wow effect. How you find a wow effect if you don't have a big budget? With creativity, with an idea. I make you lose a few minutes telling you a story, which is not, I don't have the video or the pictures because there is no video picture of this event, but is interesting. When I teach in Monaco, we normally invite, but I do it quite often, even in Milan, in IULM, even more, because in IULM, when I teach in IULM, I invite a lot of professionals from companies because it's not difficult. They are based in Milan, so inviting them in IULM is easy. So we have a lot of guests. In Monaco, a little bit less, but once we had one uh, giving to my event management students an exercise. So proposing a brief, telling them we need to solve this problem, give me your solutions. After I will tell you what we did. Basically, this guy was one manager of the Boucheron boutique of Monte Carlo. Boucheron is a brand of super high jewelry, which has a normal collection and a collection of unique pieces. Basically, during the Formula One Grand Prix of Monte Carlo, Bouchon invited 10 or 12 top clients of the world. So the 10 or 12, I don't remember, top clients of the brand all over the world. So ultra high net worth individuals, probably, to see the Formula One race. And they organized for them several activities. So they invited, they hosted them in hotels, they organized for them a terrace to see the race, and so on. But there was a free space on the Friday night of the weekend of the Formula One race in Monte Carlo, where everything is fully booked, everything is extremely expensive, so many people is there, you cannot imagine. So they decided, they asked to this shop manager to organize a small event for these people. So 10 clients, let's imagine, so plus one, 20 people, to present them the collection of the unique pieces. So all the collection of the unique pieces was in Monaco at the time. And this guy had to organize a small event for these ultra high net worth individuals to see this collection. And the brand told him, you have a budget of 5,000 euros. So this was also the exercise that this man proposed to my students. And when they heard 5,000 euros to organize an event for super top people during the Formula One Grand Prix of Monte Carlo, they were in panic, total panic. What can we propose? So he asked them to propose, to give ideas, telling them, after I will tell you what we did. Guys, if we carefully think about, there is an easy solution, even if with 5,000 euros. Bouchon have a boutique in Monaco. This man was representing the boutique. They have a shop in the center of Monte Carlo. Well, they could simply organize a private opening of the shop for this client at night, providing them very good food, very good drinks, very good champagne, and inviting them in the shop, opened just for them at night to eat and drink and see this collection. Okay, with 5,000 euros, even in Monte Carlo during the Formula One, you can do it. You can buy food, very good luxury food, so higher, very high level catering, and buy some very good champagne for 20 people. Yes, even in Monte Carlo. 5,000 is enough. This is the easy solution. But can you imagine this kind of people, these ultra high net worth individuals, how many private opens of shops they already experienced in their life? Basically, I think that for this kind of client, any shop everywhere in the world is ready to open even at 3 in the morning. Okay, private for them. So probably these people going back in America, in Australia, in I don't know, France and Russia and everywhere, going back after this Grand Prix, I don't think that these people was ready to tell everybody, to tell all the friends, you cannot imagine what Bouchon organized for us, a private opening of the shop. No, okay. For them, a private opening of the shop is something extremely common. So this guy decided to take a risk, to organize something different. Decided to rent a couple of minivans, small buses, but very, very nice, to bring them in a village just behind Monte Carlo, 10 minutes by car, not even, in France behind Monte Carlo, nice view. This guy decided to rent, to privatize, let's call it a sport club, is a place where they normally, typically, all the people is playing sport that in France is called pétanque, in Italian bocce, in English I think it's called French bull or French balls, I think. So I asked, I don't speak Spanish, but I have a Spanish-speaking girlfriend, so I asked her how it's called in Spanish, and she told me petanca or bochas. I'm not 100% sure it's correct, but should be. So it's a place where normal people play this kind of game, okay? They privatized it for a very low price. I think they spent between 500 and 1,000 euros. They brought there a food truck serving hamburgers, and they bought some very good champagne. So they brought these super rich people to play this petanca, okay, eating from a food truck, eating hamburgers from a food truck, and drinking champagne with a nice view of Monte Carlo, of course, because it's on the hill behind, with nice champagne and so on. These people loved this event. These people probably never had the opportunity in life to eat from a food truck, okay? Everything was privatized. They haven't brought them to eat in the road. But these people loved so much this event. And every year, these people coming back to Monte Carlo for the Formula One is asking to the shop manager, can we organize it again? Because we loved. And probably these people told everybody in their own countries what they experienced in Monaco. So if you have a lower budget, you just need an idea. And I show you a short video of another event.
Another day, just believe. Another day, just breathe. Just breathe. Just believe. Just breathe. Just believe. Just believe. Just breathe. Just believe. Just
So basically, this was again the classic event. Nice location, nice food, nice drinks. There was DJ and the jewels of this brand Bouchon exposed for the best clients in London. What they did to make something different with a very low budget. They proposed, so they bought some of these white coats that the doctor, the pharmacist is normally wearing, okay? They proposed to the clients to wear this kind of white coat at the entrance, and at the event there were some young artists ready to decorate these coats, and after, as you saw in the video, some clients started to play the game, so decided to participate, for example, decorating the coat of a friend or the partner and so on. So they made something different with a very low budget, because if you can imagine the budget of this wow effect, to buy, I don't know, 100 or 200 of these white coats can be less than 500 euros if you buy it all together. Young artists in London, there are thousands of art schools, so probably if you look for 10 young artists coming to work for a very famous brand for one night, you can even find for free people coming to work for free. But we don't like, it's absolutely against my philosophy to ask people to work for free, even if they're students. So let's imagine that they paid them, if they proposed them 100 or 200 dollars, euros each to work one night for Bouchon. Probably you can find all the students of art school you want, and they are very happy to come. So other 1,500 euros or dollars, it's more or less the same for the people, and the colors, the pencils and so on to decorate. Let's imagine other 500 euros. So with 3,000 euros or dollars, you created a small wow effect. What is important to understand? This wow effect is anyway linked with the brand represented and with the place. London is a town quite famous for art. The event happened during the contemporary art week, so there was a link also with the period, the contemporary art week, and what these artists were creating, decorating some coats like that, unique pieces. And Bouchon, as I told you before, is a brand famous for a unique pieces collection, so there is also a link with the brand. Guys, I want to be 100% honest. If I have a big budget, I can create definitely better wow effects, okay? I can use special effects in a different way. But the fact of not having a big budget should not be an excuse to give up and to organize a common and ordinary event. Because let's always remember that luxury is experience, and luxury should be a dream. How you can make people dream or provide people a dreamy experience if you do something ordinary, something that they see every day, is impossible. Is impossible, and again, I already told you, even if with a small budget, you waste this small budget if you do something ordinary. I know that is not easy, but we have some keys to find a good idea. We start by the brand, so we start with the characteristics of the brand. We try to understand what our people, our target like, and we always keep in mind that everybody, really everybody, like to play. So during this event we just saw in the video, we saw a lot of clients starting to draw on someone else's coat. Why? Because everybody likes to play. Poor or rich, old or young, everybody like to play and have the opportunity to play, to have fun. So we try to find ideas. And guys, remember that to be creative, to be able to find the right idea is really key for success, especially for you young people. So when I teach in IULM, I try to put a lot of accent on creativity, on the need of finding new ideas. The guests that I invite in class during my courses are for the 80% very young people, younger than me, so successful people, but people that arrived to their success because they could bring something new. They could invent or create something new. They brought to the companies something, some innovation. Okay, why a company should hire you instead of an older person with more experience? Because you can bring new ideas, fresh ideas, and innovation. This is the key for the success. So to force yourself to find new ideas, to be ready to bring your creativity is the key for the success. One last video.
Dans la vie professionnelle, on a parfois des moments de plénitude. C'est celui que je vais vivre avec vous en vous présentant l'une des plus belles voitures du monde, le dessin le plus parfait.
La quintessence du design de Pininfarina.
3 700 000.
3 millions 8. Pas d'erreur, messieurs à droite.
J'adjuge.
Bravo.
Adjugé. Il fallait un vrai pilote pour présenter cette magnifique
Ferrari 166 Spider Corsa par Scaglietti.
We are selling the car at
2,5
million euros, à 2,5 millions. Nous
à 2
vendons
550 000.
550 000 euros.
J'adjuge.
Bravo.
Adjugé.
À 280 000. 200.
Adjugé.
Bravo. Bravo. 200.
Adjugé.
Bravo.
280 000. Bravo, monsieur.
Au 506.
So this event was the typical boring event in luxury. An ocean of old cars and motorbikes can be very funny, but can be also very boring. And normally these events are organized in a very classical and old style way. It was not necessary to bring a professional, an old glory of the rally races, to bring the car, to bring an old car to sell. Was not necessary to bring a motorbike driver, a biker, to display a motorbike, and it was not necessary for the oceaner to start to sing, okay, in an ocean, in an ocean of luxury, old luxury cars and motorbikes. You saw at the end of the video the amount of the money they gained during the ocean is impressive. It's a very important event. Well, even in this kind of events, if you use a little bit of creativity, if you add your touch, making this event more funny, more playful, well, what you need? You need very rich people to come to your event and try to buy these cars and motorbikes and so on. And if you make it funny, probably next year, if they don't know, I go, I don't go, probably they will decide to come because they had fun last year in your event, in your ocean, okay? So even the most classic and creativity free event can have a little touch, a little wow effect touch to make the difference and to make it more effective, because the goal is to make it more effective, to earn more money. Everybody's working to earn more money, okay? I think that my time is already passed, so I'm here available for you for questions. I stop the sharing so we can see each other.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I loved your presentation and I'm happy to see some questions here. Well, regarding this last part that you said about being creative, I think someone asked, sometimes it is difficult to be authentic at events. How can we create an event without falling into monotony? I think is how to find that creativity. And I'll mix it with another one, which Claudia is saying, from where we can learn more about the trends for the luxury events to get the inspiration.
Okay, well, creativity is something that you can train and you can learn. I don't like when someone is telling me I'm not a creative person, so I cannot be creative. It's impossible. To be more creative and to find right ideas, first of all, you always need to keep your eyes open. You always need to observe whatever is happening around you. You need to know very well your target. You need to know very well your people. And it's part of the culture of a person working in communication. One thing I do, which is not strongly linked with luxury, but whenever I go to visit a new town, wherever I go as a tourist, I go on holidays, I don't go only to see the monuments, the museums, and so on. One of the first thing I do in any town is to visit shops, supermarkets, but normal shop, not luxury shops. I go to visit the supermarket. I want to see the people, what they do, how they live, what they say, if I can understand the language. That's why I like to go and travel in countries speaking in English, French, a little bit of Spanish. I can start to understand, even if just a little bit, because I like to see the people, see what they do, to know them, to speak with them. I try to speak with everybody in the bars, in the shops, to chat, to observe, to look all around you is a very good way to be creative. And to find the right creativity for your events is a combination of this, is a combination of what you see around. I want to be 100% sincere and honest with you. is part also, is made also by what you see in other events, okay? You don't need to copy, okay? You don't need to copy. But if you see something nice in an event, you can still think, how can I adapt what I saw to my clients and my brand? You cannot copy, because as I told you at the beginning, in every town and for every brand, we need different things, okay? People like different things. But so you don't copy, but you can get inspiration and adapt and mix with other ideas and combine 3, 4, 5 things you saw around. But the best way to find new ideas, in my point of view, is to be 100% attentive of what you see around. So you watch, you observe, and so on. And the second part was the trend of luxury, if I remember well, right?
Yeah, where also to get the inspiration where can we learn more about the trends for the luxury events?
Okay, first of all, you are young, so you will make the trends. So you will transform the luxury events, okay? Because this is the goal. Well, in luxury, there is one macro trend, which is the play, the word play. So make people play, make people experience something. People don't want anymore to observe and be passive. People want to be active. So you can use the technology, you can use your ideas, you can use whatever you want, but you need to make people experience and do something, okay? This is the trend. We sell dreams, but we sell experiences. You don't buy when you buy an Hermes bag, you don't buy a bag, because if you need a bag, you can go and buy wherever a bag costing even 2 zeros less than the Hermes bag. When you decide to buy an Hermes bag, you buy a dream, okay? You don't buy a bag. If you need a bag, you go and you buy any bag. You don't spend 20,000 euros for a bag, okay? With 50, you can find an amazing bag. And more, I will tell you one other thing. Probably you don't need a bag. If you buy a bag, an Hermes bag, is not because you need a bag, because if you open your closets at home, you can if you look around you, if you are at home and you look around you, probably you have enough bag for the rest of your life and for the life of your kids, okay? So you don't need a bag. If you start to buy only what you need, you go to buy food. You have enough clothes for the rest of your life. You have enough bags. Probably your car can be perfect for other 15 years, okay, or 20 years. You buy food, yes, you can buy some holidays because this is okay, but you don't go to buy watches. I think that my grandfather was using the watch of his father, okay, and was passing the watch to my father. Okay, so you don't buy a watch. You buy a watch because you want to have the pleasure of buying a watch. This is not only for luxury, it's for all the brands. You probably, there are some brands that made of the experience something more important than the product. Now I use an example that is not luxury, but when you go to an Abercrombie and Fitch shop, you don't buy a t-shirt. You buy the ticket for 20 minutes of entertainment with loud music, people dancing, lights, and so on. So the price of the t-shirt is not the price of the t-shirt, is the ticket for 20 minutes of entertainment. So there, the experience of buying it is more important than the product we buy. In luxury, is a little bit different because you also buy products with an excellent artisanal creation and so on, a very good design. So it's not only, you're not buying only a dream, you're not buying only a brand, you're buying also a product with some features. But in luxury, features are less important than the dream. If you want to buy a watch to know what's the time? Okay, let's imagine that, I mean, my point of view, you have already enough watches at home, but let's imagine that you don't have. You really need a watch. And you really need a watch because you don't like to watch the phone, so to check the time on the phone, you like to keep the phone in your pocket, so you want a watch that is giving you the perfect timing. You don't buy a Rolex, you don't buy an Audemars Piguet, you buy a Casio. The Casio watch is more sharp than a Rolex watch, for sure. Or you buy an Apple Watch or a Samsung or something like that, but you don't go to buy a Rolex or a luxury watch. You buy a brand because of its features. If you decide to buy a Rolex, it's not for the features. It's not because it's more sharp in telling you the time than a Casio, because it's not. I can swear it's not. So the new trends of luxury are to increase in people the idea of buying an experience, of buying something different, of buying a dream more than a product. And events should work in this direction. But concerning the wow effect, I think that make people play, make people have fun is the key for the success. People remember if they have fun. People is thinking, our target is thinking have a lot of problems. Maybe they arrive to your event after a bad day in the office or at home with problems, with bad news, with even good news, but taking too much mind. They like to have fun, to play. They remember if they can play.
Claudia says it was a wow presentation.
Thank you very much.
We have several more questions. How can agencies measure the success of an event for the brand in terms of ROI, brand awareness, etc., so that we can keep promoting them with the brands?
Okay, here I can give you the polite answer telling you that we measure a lot, or the real one. The real one is that in most of the cases we don't measure. And this is a bad point. It's something that should change, and is little bit by little changing. In luxury, we spent so much money in events for several years without checking our ROI, without setting KPIs and so on, which is not the good way of working, of course. I can understand that in luxury sometimes it's different. You cannot, if you organize an event for a brand like, I don't know, Patek Philippe or Hermès, you cannot measure the ROI, for example, using sales, because there is a waiting list to buy these goods. Okay, so you cannot increase the sales with events because the sales are staying there. And if you want to measure the brand awareness and so on, you need probably to spend a lot of money in marketing researches. And so you cannot spend more money for the research than the money you invested in the event. Okay, so after an event, you cannot. There are some ways to measure the return of investment. For example, if I give you a practical example, if you, for example, for a luxury brand of watches, can be Rolex, can be Patek Philippe, they have some models that are very, very limited editions. So you present these models to a specific target, and this target can decide to ask for one of these. After it's not sure they will receive it, but they can ask. If I invite to this kind of very exclusive event, I don't know, 20 people, and 16 of them ask to have this special model, and after the brand is assigning to, I don't know, 10 over these 16 the watch, probably I choose the right people to invite. If I invite these 20 people and one is asking the watch and the other 19 no, probably I invited the wrong people. But if I invite 20 people and 16 or even all the 20 ask the watch, but the brand decide to assign just one of them the watch, again, I probably invited the wrong people, because people not in line with the client that the brand want to assign this special edition watch. This is one of the things. After, for example, if I invite 100 people to an event for the best clients of a brand, and just 30 of them confirm, probably I can understand that I had some problems, or my events are not appealing, or I'm inviting the wrong people, and so on. It's not easy. It's not easy for luxury events to measure the return on investment, but we need to create some ways. It's more and more important to do it, even if in the past we didn't.
So interesting. The next question, I'll modify it a little bit, but it will be, how do luxury brands create a sense of community? I understand that the experience requires a different kind of approach. So how do they stay close to their audience, considering that the luxury market doesn't aim to reach a larger market, a large number of people? In fact, they prefer to target a smaller, high-ticket audience.
Well, events are one of the most important tools that the brands are using to create a community. So events are, for definition, creating a community. That's why it's important to invite the right people, because if you are a client of a luxury brand and you're invited to an event and you see around you people completely different from you could start thinking that you are not in the right place, so that you are not in the right community, that the brand's word is not your word, so maybe you need to escape. That's why, for example, when I organize events for luxury brands, let's imagine for a shop selling a luxury brand, normally the shop would like to invite also some people that maybe is buying other brands, and they want them to approach the brand, some perspective clients, okay, not only actual clients. In my point of view, when you organize an event, you cannot invite more than 20% of prospective clients, but the 80% should be people already client by the brand. So the 20% of prospective clients are feeling into a world of people passionate about the brand. So they are feeling surrounded by the brand. Okay, the events are made to create the community around the brand.
Wow. And do you have any advice on how to keep people interested in assist at the event, not only because they choose to assist by any reason, but like awaken the curiosity of the people involved?
Well, on a very practical and technical point of view, after it's something complex, would require several days to to give a full explanation. But basically, the event is a show, so you need to create the event with a timeline well studied to make people pass from one activity to another, from one monument to another in a very smooth way. So the event should be not too long. When you have people speaking, because even in luxury events, sometimes you have the CEO, you have someone speaking, you need to force them to respect a very, very strict timing. Okay, I'm really telling people, okay, you can speak, but for 2 minutes, okay, no more, because otherwise people is losing interest. So the timeline of the event, the schedule of the event should be well studied. After, again, to make people participate, play, do something is helping to keep the interest very high. I always say that the event should have an end. Okay, it's like imagine when you go to a club or to a party. If the club is closing when it's full of people dancing and having fun, okay, the DJ is telling, okay, this is the last song. Now we close with the club full of people. You go home with, dreaming for the next party. If the club is closing when the last client went, how you go home? You go home with the image of the club half empty, with just a few people not having any more fun and so on, and it's very bad. The same is for events. The event should have an end, okay, should not be endless, okay? At a certain point, you should tell people now it's time to go home, okay? Because you need to stop the event before the interest is going down. But the secret, which is not a secret, is to create a very sharp schedule and to try to respect it. So to design the event as a show, okay? So you mix different activities. One important thing is you need to be 100% clear with everybody about the things that they can do during the event. So if you have, I've been recently at an event where there were 4 amazing car simulators, like Formula One cars, Formula One car simulator with 300 guests, okay? Every person was staying 8-10 minutes on these simulators. Was terrible because 50 people over the 300 could experience the game, maybe not 50, maybe 80, but everybody wanted to do it, but was impossible. So these mistakes are absolutely not acceptable. You need to imagine, if you organize something, you need to be sure that everybody can use. If you organize a golf competition, you need to be sure that the people not playing golf but staying with the people playing golf have something to do all day long, because you cannot imagine to keep the husband or the wife of a person playing golf, if the partner is not playing golf, to keep this person in the clubhouse to do nothing all the day. You need in luxury, you need to be aware of whatever the client should like to do. For example, if I organize a luxury cocktail on the beach, okay, normally people is not going to swim. I mean, people is coming dressing elegant at night, drinking, talking, and so on. But if one of my clients decide at midnight to go to swim, I need to be ready with tongs, towels, and everything, even if in the plan of the event was not, was not part of the plan to go to swim, okay? So I need to be ready for any request that can come from a client, if we are in luxury, yeah, okay? If we organize events for non-luxury brands, we can go a little, we have different budgets, and we can be a little bit more, a little bit less attentive to these details.
Thank you. Well, I know it's pretty late, so I'm just gonna pick. I'm sorry if we couldn't answer all the questions, guys, but I will pick the last one. Christina says, I would like to get involved in the luxury event creation sector. What would you recommend to add to a portfolio and stand out?
Okay, so first of all, my first suggestion is to study a lot, okay? Study luxury events, because to enter the market of luxury event, you should be really ready to work. What I mean, company hiring you to organize events don't want to hire you and start to teach you, okay, what to do. When a company is hiring you, wants you ready to work. So that's why, for example, at IULM, we use a lot of exercises. So part of, just to give you an example, a part of the final exam of my class about events is to design an event and look for the real suppliers, look for the real locations. So go to visit even after you don't organize the event, but to create a project really with practical things. So you need to, in groups, you need to go look for a location, visit it, inspect it, look for the suppliers, create the project of the event, including the wow effect and so on. So to enter this market, you need to be ready to work, okay? It's something not difficult, because imagine that in all the luxury brands, the communication managers, the PR managers are also event managers. They organize events. After, there are a lot of other opportunities in the market of luxury events. For example, all the luxury hotels are hiring event managers because as salespeople, so they don't have salespeople just ready to sell. They have salespeople ready to organize events. Why? Because these people, these hotels need to rent the event spaces that are actually very important for the revenues. So the revenues is more from these spaces than from the spaces than from the rooms. And they need to rent these spaces to event managers. So to have an event manager as a salesperson is helping to sell, because it's someone that can help the event manager client to organize the event there. And honestly, if I have to organize an event in Milan, I can do it without any help. But if tomorrow a brand is asking me to organize an event in Paris and I'm not from Paris, if in the location, in the hotel or in another location, I find a local event manager as a salesperson, I'm very happy, because can help me a lot to organize the event. So careers in events in luxury are a lot. So there are the PR and communication managers in brands, the event managers in agencies, event agencies. There are the location managers. There are the sales people in luxury hotel and so on. So there are a lot of opportunities. But the first suggestion is to study and to make experiences. So to take the opportunity, for example, to work while you are a student, to work for events, and this you can put in your portfolio as well. And so to make experience everywhere, to try to take the opportunity to have experiences whenever you can.
Thank you so much, Andrea, and thank you all of our public that stayed until the end. I'll switch
Thank you
back
very
to
much.
Spanish. Gracias a todos por esta interesante sesión. Esperamos que haya sido provechosa para acercar a estudiantes mexicanos y público general a nuevos conceptos. Espero que en general estén disfrutando todo el contenido de Encuentro Creativo. Nos vemos en las próximas sesiones. Y en nombre de la Cámara de Comercio Italiana en México, me gustaría expresar mi gratitud por su presencia. También extiendo agradecimiento a todas las marcas que forman parte de esta edición, entre ellas Essilor Luxottica, Lavazza, Fiat, entre otras. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much to everybody.